This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, this is Peter McFarland, I'm Chair of the Norwood Sustainability Commission. I'm calling the Monday, October 19th meeting to order at 7 o'clock on GoToMeeting video conference. So as far as roll call of members, we have Emily Shea, Ryan Dunn, Heather Miller, Dave Ruggiero, and myself, and our able assistant, Joe Collins. So first order, we're going to talk about the consolidation of the action plan and the discussion as far as where are we with it. I don't know if, I mean, has everybody had a chance to look it over? I know there are gaps as far as that goes, so I don't know. Joe Collins says, Keith looked at this at all? You know?
Who is it again?
Keith Bergen. Has he looked at the report as consultant?
I don't think so. I can ask him to review it right after the meeting if you want.
Okay. All right. I did look at Dedham plan, just to kind of get an idea where, what they had, what we didn't have, and we kind of gone about it in different different buckets as far as how we addressed it. And they did it. So it's kind of hard to do a side by side. So that really didn't help too much, but I did like their format as far as their summary goes. As far as they had goals and objectives, and then they had actions, how they go, actions, and then responsible party, and then if it's going to be short term, long term, intermediate term kind of goal on the objective was. But as far as how does everybody feel about their subcommittees contributions, and open it up to somebody besides myself? Dave, any comments or any ideas of what you think about it?
Peter, rephrase that. Think about what? A reference to Dedham plan or just ours in general?
No, our plan.
Well, I'll start. I worked this weekend. I rewrote most of the energy section, all of the energy section. Thank you, Brian, for the prompt. And I did try to find a uniform voice between all the other plans, some inspiration, some language. I think we're, a large chunk of it is done. Finding that one voice and whether we use examples. I'm happy with where the energy part is. I didn't know John had moved out of town, which might explain why he's not responding. And I haven't had a chance to talk to Mark about some of the changes that I made, though I incorporated some that he had submitted. So, so there you have it. I think we're finding a similar thread. It's less than 2 pages, short goal, lengthy narrative after some bullet points. So it seems to be worked for me. I don't know if others are looking at the other sections and trying to find a common theme or a common language.
Yeah, my only comment, Dave, is going to be similar to yours, is that right now, I think a lot of the information is there, but just getting it into one voice and one format probably be helpful. I was part of the education and as well as the public health, and the public health one, Sigal really helped us, I feel like, give us action plans, and that seems a little more tangible, like something to do or something to go. So as opposed to the education one, we wrote it more as strategies, which are fine, but it's less like able to like check off. So I think as a group, if we wanted to decide I think we should decide one way or the other for the whole document, what we want it to look like, so that we can just tweak the information that's in there to look similar for each section.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I would appreciate some feedback. I mean, that the energy section is overwhelmingly my input. No offense against Mark or John. So there hasn't been enough editing or input from others, and I think it needs it at this point. I did send it off to Dan Morrissey at your recommendation, Joe. He and I will meet hopefully this week, give us better examples. So yeah, I think we need a third party or another set of eyes on sections that we've not participated in, and ultimately one person to say, okay, here's the narrative, this is how we're going to write it. I prefer commas here, I prefer, to use as well as opposed to two, and make it look professional.
Okay. Heather or Emily, any?
No, I agree with all of that. I thought it was really helpful to see it all in one place, because we've been talking about it kind of as segmented pieces up until this point. So it was really nice to see it all as one report. Yeah, agree that we need to now have some editing just to get consistency in terms of format. Are we going to have help with like design type work? I mean, if we just produce like a Word document, is that sufficient?
Are you talking like reference to like the graphics that Dedham had? When they were in their narrative part of it, as far as populations and graphs and things like that. Is that what you're kind of getting to?
Yeah, that even just like formatting and making it look attractive. So it's not just a Word document. I don't feel capable of doing anything more than a Word document, so I don't know if anyone else feels like they have those skills.
No. If you can do it with Word, that's about all I can do it. As far as graphics go, I think we probably need to have some more baseline talk. Because then, graphs make sense, pie charts, whatever how you want to, get, bar graphs, pie charts. But you have to kind of have a baseline and where if there's any direction growth or something to that extent, populations, things. I don't know.
Yeah, I do think some of the underlying data could be represented in graphs and charts.
Like a solid waste,
We have to decide what.
We could do a 5-year, like we have tonnage reports for solid waste going back, I don't know how many, but you mean single stream recycling in October 2008, I believe.
So I wonder if
You take that as a baseline and it's for solid waste and move forward from there. I don't know us. We have baseline information, but that's the first thing I can think of, but I don't know if there's anything else.
yeah, so it sounds like that would be something as like I think just thinking about steps that need to be done, like the first would be for us to decide on what format we want it all to take, as far as like is it strategies or action plan, and then from there I like Dave's suggestion of somehow getting other eyes on it, whether that's us all looking at everything, and then the third I think would be us going through our own sections and saying this should be graphic, this could be a graphic, or something like that, and then because I think those of us who've been working on the different sections probably have an understanding of like what would pop out easier, or what information is available. But again, I think we need to know what format we're taking first and make sure all the information's there, and then kind of do that at the end. But to me, that sounds like the three kind of immediate steps that could be taken in pretty quickly.
Okay. All right. So as far as what we have, we'll probably be adding or changing some things. I don't know, as far as going from here, we definitely have to format it. That Brian just said, but I mean, as far as what we're doing, we're not going to do anything at special town meeting. I think it's my understanding is special is just like the annual was in the spring special too. It's get what has to get done, because it's a ton of planning articles. I mean, probably have 2 nights of planning articles to go through because of the rezoning of Route 1 and the medical district overlay at, around the hospital. That's going to those things will take time, at least one night. But I don't think we're going to get into reports. But the thing about it is, what we need to do is draft it, give it to Joe, have it go to Tony, look at it and say what he needs to have done, what gaps are, what he would like to see a bit more, or whatever, give us a review. And then we can go back and, make those changes or whatever, tweaking it. And then present it as I would think it would next go to select, and then if it's ready by springtime, then after the selectmen have given it a review, or at least have reviewed it. I don't know if they would approve it at that time, but they would definitely give us a feedback on that. And now we're talking probably beginning of next year anyways. And if we make it in time for the spring annual, I don't see we do a presentation we probably do what everybody else is doing, like the planning board is doing tonight, have a preview type of thing, where a public hearing type of thing before town meeting, and everybody get their input then. And I don't know, as far as that goes, it's not going to be something that's going to be voted on at town meeting, so it's not something that has to be. But we definitely want to have it out into the community and have a review. Everybody get an idea of public hearing review, and then we can work to finalize this. So I think that's kind of like where the timeline's at right now. So as far as we just need to people working together with, we're down to 7 members. As far as that goes, we'd have Keith look at it and see if there's anything that jumps out at him, and then we can definitely start working on picking a format and looking for baseline information if we're going to dress up the report with graphics. I don't know, is there anything else?
Would it be too much to try to just pick the format now, so we can, because then I think if we knew that, then we could ask maybe everybody to read through obviously their own section, but the other sections as well, like Dave was suggesting, just to give feedback when we do that. So if I know we're missing 2 people, but could we just decide on a format? I'm sure they'd be all right, and then we could go rewrite it if needed.
What would you like to propose?
I mean, like I was saying before, to me, the one from the public health seems to just like, it just speaks a little better because it's things that like are actionable, but that's just personally, like the other ones with strategies are fine too. I guess if I had to vote, it would be the the public health version that has the let me just see what it's called at the top. It has it's under strategies, but it's like all like achieve health equity, create social and physical environments to promote, like it's kind of actionable words at the beginning there.
Mhm.
And I guess all of them have it to an extent. So just making sure that we use that might be good.
Yep. All right, yeah, if that's basically, when you're saying formatting, number the strategies, bold heading, and then writing. Basically what's happened there is the narrative below it explaining. I wrote most of that, so as
Yeah.
far all that goes, so just kind of like using the same. Do you want to use like the like 5 and 6 say AB, but then I don't know. Then we don't have, some are just one paragraph. I don't know. Just that it gets into the.
I feel like the public health section is the only one that is in that format, and the others are all kind of goal, strategies, narrative. So it would be simpler to
That's true. Yeah. That's a
change
good point.
one to match the other 4, as opposed to changing 4 to match the 1. And I guess I'm just a little concerned. I know you said Sigal went through it all with you, and I think that's why you guys have a lot of detail. I don't know that we could on our own come up with that level of detail for all of the other sections. Like, we might actually need some of the town staff to help us to do that. So it might be better to almost stay a little bit more high level. And then, if some folks at the town want to help us to identify exactly what those implementation actions are, that would be good, but that might be kind of a next step.
Well, once we put it in the format, probably the next step before it actually goes to Tony, we send it back to the departments that gave us some input, Sigal, Mark Ryan, Paul Hadiotis, and Pat DeShane from planning. Who else did we talk? I mean, you guys, I wasn't in all those. Those are the subcommittee meetings I was in on that went to, town departments.
Yeah, no, I think those people can
Dave
help.
is actually to the energy department, isn't he?
Right.
So Dave, what do you think?
I think I have to go through Norwood
You
Light.
talking to yourself yet? But yeah, that's something we probably should do too, is go back to, talk to them about, getting more, background to, why, the explanation. I mean, kind of like the strategy is where we're going, why we're going, justification. So you have a paragraph of, back up to kind of explain where, who feels this way besides us. It's not, it's subjective. It's kind of like increase in physical activity. I went to the physical activity guidelines for America, and and got like their executive summary, looking at that. So that's kind of like where some of that information came from. It's going into whoever the kind of the expert trade group or or a National Health Organization or something like that, or the WHO or NIH, whoever.
Yeah, no, I definitely think we should get input from the relevant town staff who are the experts on these things. I just am saying in terms of our ability to edit something and how far we can take this on our own. I feel like we've
Well, I
probably
think
taken a lot of the sections as far as we can. So we should work with what we have for now.
yeah,
Yeah,
well, they
and
can point us.
I was to say, Heather, I think you're right. I think switching one as opposed to switching the other four probably makes sense. So I think that's probably a good call. And then, yeah, probably make them all the same level would be, I think that goes into that one voice. So maybe as we look to reach others, we can identify some of those areas.
Yeah, I think we can, we can even have some placeholders if we feel like there's something we need more information on, and we can find someone to help us get that information.
Remind me of the timeline again for this.
Soon. We want to wrap, I think we're kind of done with the phase one draft. Now we're pulling it together because that was like the subcommittee groups doing theirs. Now we've got one document. Now we want to develop the one document, have it, start getting reviewed by, the responsible departments, and then, get feedback and then start going for a final approval by Tony and the selectmen, and then, preview it to the town meeting. So I think, so we're talking 6 months, basically, because annual town meetings May. So you kind of want to, we don't want to let it drag. We're working at it for about 9 months. We started probably January, February, just before the pandemic started. So, we want to get this. I think we're, not in the 7th inning, but we're probably in the 6th inning of the game, trying to, close this out. So, we got the bulk of the work done. Now it's fine tuning and kind of finding the responsible or organization to carry out the plan, or this particular goal or objective. It's that's my feeling about it. Everybody else kind of in the same game with me, or am I?
Yeah, I think that can be done.
Okay. So it's basically everybody working on everything right now. It's not, you can maybe start branching out if you weren't involved in the subcommittee, look at another section, look up things and see if there's some information you can, if it's not clear to us, if you haven't worked on it and you read it and it's not clear, it's not going to be clear to other people too. So, as far as that goes, and some of this might be, objectives. Objectives would be, we want a 10% decrease by 2030, or or something like that. We want to kind of put a measurement in a goal. I mean, but also make it more definitive as far as what's the time frame for doing this. I mean, it's one thing about goals, but on objectives, kind of goals, but more definition, but there's more definitive, an objective is definitive action and timeline or a deadline to it. So that's kind of like where, look at this, you look at the summary for Dedham, and they used what actions and goals, actions, and um, yeah, potential key partners, implementers, and then implementation timeframe. And they have a area called co-benefits related planning elements. I don't know what that is, like just looking at the report, but the other ones, like Brookline had the first, the action, same thing, who's the partner, who, and what the timeline is. But I'm not sure what, I remember Brookline had that same, almost like spreadsheet, about columns and all the goals and objectives listed on them. So, I mean, you'll see that if you start looking at the other reports, they all have that same format to it. So they, it's a summary, as far as you have your long report and then the summary kind of details it, cuts all the, the narrative out and just kind of gets to the point of what the action has to be. So. The only thing we have, we're gonna have town meeting in November 12th. But then the Mondays are gonna be a problem. Not a problem, but we're gonna have, I think the special is gonna go. Joe, any idea? It's definitely 2 nights with all the planning stuff going on, right? Were they preparing for a special 2, 3 nights at least, maybe a 4th?
At least 2. I would plan on 3.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe it'll go quick, and the annual town meeting went really fast.
Yeah. Yeah, it all depends if everybody's, zoning you get, I mean, the typical meetings kind of get hung up on not the big thing. It won't be talking about Route 1. It'll be talking about the intersection of Moore Street where, they should have put a light in, and, it should have been a blinking light instead of a, we get, we didn't, the annual gets hung up on on the Conservation Commission. So things you don't expect get you hung up on things, but because if our next meeting would have been November 16th, which would be the second night of special. Who is town meeting? Heather, your town meeting, right? Brian, are you, or is it you?
My wife is, which means I'll be watching the kids. so-
You'll be engaged.
Yeah.
Dave, would you be there because you're more or less, are you a town meeting member?
I'm a town meeting member,
Oh, okay.
just,
What-
just this year, was the
Oh,
first year.
wow.
So
Emily-
yeah, that's
Emily's,
exciting.
Emily's parents are, right? Emily's not,
Right, but I'm not.
okay, but you'll be preoccupied in November, I hear, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I don't know if we, as far as tentative, as far as the 16th, I don't think, be a good night for us to meet, but the 23rd looks, it's the week of Thanksgiving. If it wasn't COVID, it'd be a whole different deal. But we probably still have town meeting if it wasn't for COVID too. So town meeting would be the 12th, the 16th, the third night would be the 19th. And the 4th night would be the 23rd, which I think we won't get to the 4th night. I'm surprised we get past 2, but because nobody wants to do this COVID procedure. We want to do it all one night probably. So as far as that goes, how we want to handle the November meeting then? You want to put it down for the 16th or the 23rd? Just so everyone knows what they're going to be,
And if the 16th is the second night and we're pretty sure it's going to go there, it sounds like we should just plan on the 23rd.
okay. All right.
personally, it's okay, but I don't want to speak if other people have plans or will be busy that week.
No, that works for me, and I'll try to send out an email if anything happens earlier than the 27th as planned.
Okay. All right, so we'll put it down as the 23rd, so don't get, we won't be, because the last thing is, it's been tough. When we change a date, it was kind of like the third Monday worked for everybody, but then when we started changing dates, it doesn't, the new dates never seem to work, so, as far as that goes.
So should we, so we're gonna read each other's, and should we just make comments on that main document for people to kind of what our thoughts are, and then, so hopefully those comments can either be incorporated or whatever by the next meeting, is that the goal? So not just a comment, but then for people who've written the sections to incorporate those comments in?
This part, I don't know.
That sounds good. I think that makes sense.
I think each section should have an author, and then the changes go to that person and let that person do the change. Add it in, so, because if it's, to me, like everybody, I don't know, it just kind of gets, not that you need to protect it if you get it, it's just sometimes, it's just,
Yeah.
to me, if 7 people work on one document, I think if 6 people funnel it to one person, let that one person do the changes to the section. Problem is, I'm horrible with Google Docs, so.
Yeah, well, there's the form, the way you can, there's a way to comment on it, so the person can see like this section, here's your suggestion, and then the person can take it or leave it depending on what they think. And then that way everybody can leave their comments, and then whoever originally wrote that section can take those comments and either incorporate it in or just at the next meeting, they could say, well, I didn't put that one in because of X, Y, or Z. I don't know people's comfort on using that format.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that seems logistically easier than accepting individual feedback from multiple different people and then trying to keep track of one master document where you're incorporating all those edits. If everything's right in one place, it seems like it would be a lot easier.
Yeah. Who wants to do it? Because it's definitely not my.
Well, no, I think what you suggested, where everyone is responsible for this section. I'm sorry, the Bills game is on if you're hearing shouting in the background. Everyone is responsible for the section that they drafted, but within that master document, we're all working within that one document, but you're only responsible for the sections that you wrote in the first place.
Is I can't share my screen or else I'd show you. Is that something?
Yeah.
Then
Thanks, Jared.
Okay. You're gonna
Talking
see
about using track changes, right?
no, even easier. Where is it? You're seeing my physics stuff here. So on the, so you can see this document here, right?
Yep.
So let's say I'm going through and I think there should be a change here. I can highlight it and you see this plus on the side. It says add a comment. So now I can say like, Heather, this looks fine. And then I can comment. And now when she comes in, she'll see that like I wrote this about that section.
Okay, so not track changes, just comments.
Yeah, and then when she's done with it, when she's like dealt with it, she just hits the check mark and it'll resolve and go away.
Right, okay. That's easy.
So I just gotta find where do I stop sharing here? So now, Peter, to your point, like now, like, let's say for education, I could still be the one responsible for going in and looking at all the comments and incorporating them in. So it's still the one voice. Once everybody's read through it, I'll be the one to go in and incorporate any changes or fix wording or whatever it is. So that way still we're not like all trying to add to one document, it's just commenting on each other's work.
Okay. Fine. Okay,
And Peter, if Google Docs doesn't work for you and you want to send comments individually, I think that that's fine too. I think if most of us can work off of the Google Doc, I think that'll just make it easier to have things in one place.
yeah, see, I can do that in Word, but if with Google Docs, I do it and then I can't save it right, and it's like, geez. I'm doing it twice.
Yeah, I mean, if Word works better for you, then feel free to do that. That's fine.
Okay. All righty.
Yeah, and then you could just send your comments to one of us and then or to the whole group, and then we can incorporate our sections in.
Okay. All right. So either you work out of Google Docs or you come up with your own, you know, do the same thing, edit. I mean, I have the thing in Word anyway, so. Okay, all right. So any, oh, this is something, forgot to, Susan Clare sent me an email, probably in August, I think it was, and we've kind of had, I forgot to bring it up at another meeting, that, to get a yes and progress Norwood doing the sustainability, series at the through the library, which I guess the first one's gonna be, climate change this Thursday night with, the Ponce Valley watershed. Is it Ian,
Yeah, Ian Cook.
Ian Cook, yeah. They asked us if we wanted to do something, and I said, well, later in the fall, but, Susan hasn't contacted me since, and I just didn't know when and what. I thought we'd have to be a little bit farther along with the sustainability plan than we were, but hoping like November we would. I don't think we're ready to put this, it's not ready for prime time for sure. So I think we've, I could talk to her, I guess, about it, and probably be the spring, I guess.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
she
makes
has.
sense.
Oh,
No, go ahead, Brian.
I was gonna say probably the same thing. I think she has through like February planned at this point.
Okay.
That series.
Yeah, I think they got pushed back a little bit further too than they were hoping. So probably
Yeah.
the spring.
I know she hasn't come back to me, so I figured she's got enough or doesn't have enough, doesn't know exactly when. If you're saying it's got pushed back, that's probably why I haven't heard from him. But I just kind of, wanted to bring that up because it was something I meant to mention a couple meetings ago and just didn't get to it.
I think they're definitely still interested. I think it's just been tricky to figure out the timing with stuff this year. So I think if we
I
plan
just
to
give
do
it
it in the
to-
spring, that would be great.
I just figured I'd give it the education outreach committee, subcommittee anyway, so I was.
Yeah, we were actually supposed to do something with her.
Oh,
It was
back.
either March or
Was
April.
it?
They
March
got
or April, yeah.
yeah, about the public health aspect of it. Like I think Segal and I were gonna do something, and then it got pushed back. So I think
Everything
yeah,
got closed down.
What's that?
Everything got closed down.
Yeah.
Beginning of
So-
March, I think. So that was when nobody figured out how, we've been doing virtual since May. So, yeah, whatever. We're all finding new things to do, I guess, new activities of some sort. How to Zoom, how to go to meeting, how to, I don't know, what else? So, FaceTime Live with Heather. So, all right. Anything else anybody wants to bring up? I think we're,
Yeah, just quickly, I connected with Jen Maltese. I know she was here a little while ago. She's the getting her doctorate, and she's writing up a plan on something, how to become a pollinator town, which I guess some other towns have done. And she has some thoughts behind education and outreach, but also how to kind of put it all together. So she got delayed for a few things, but over the next couple of weeks, she's going to provide that, and I can share with everybody. But her goal is to try to, when I was talking with her, is hopefully there'll be some type of Earth Day event in the Common again, like has happened the past couple of years, is that she could set up something there and we could be a part of it as well. And she has a plan, like you could give out different things to people for free. And but she had a good way to tie it in with us, as well as Earth Day and stuff like that. So when she gets that to me, I'll be sure to share it with everybody.
She a Norwood resident? I can't remember.
Yeah. She just moved, I think, but she's in South Norwood, right by Cafe Fresh over there.
Okay, I might reach out to her, see if she'd be interested in taking John's spot.
Yeah, I mentioned it to somebody, the same thing about, yeah, I think if you did, that'd be good. I think that'd be, I think she'd be interested in, maybe not in the middle of her dissertation, but I think that's ending soon.
So would you say a pollinator town?
Yeah, it's a way to encourage people to plant local different types of plants and things that are pollinators, that attract pollinators to keep them here. I think she said a couple other towns have done it, but yeah, it's just a way of, instead of planting things that will either be harmful to insects and pollinators, it attracts them and keeps them, provides food. So she had an idea where you could give out certain things, information about it, but then also give out plants at Earth Day to kids who can plant it and then put it in their yard. And then it attracts like butterflies and other insects and things.
Yeah. What would, I mean, we have a, plant a tree strategy in one of the sections. I think what's it, resiliency, I think. Would this kind of piggyback with that?
It could, I think. Yeah, I think the plan is to see what she has and then see where it fits in with our overall, because part of this, I think, has to have certain elements for her dissertation. So I figured let her write what she needs and then see where it fits in with what we have going on.
Yeah, I mean, if sustainability, I just kind of think if we're gonna, be a pollinated town, probably would put good place to put it in the plan someplace. So I just didn't know what section it kind of falls into.
Yeah, probably under resiliency, I would think.
I think so.
Yeah,
Native
I don't think-
planting.
Just one thing to bring up too, when you go through the report, you think like some sections, if, we have, decreased greenhouse gases in public health. I don't know if it's in any other sections. I really haven't, gone over everything. But what section, what category, or how, we want to make sure everything's in the right category, or a category that makes sense. I mean, public health, it makes sense in public health, but it might be mentioned in two other sections too, so, as far as energy and, so as far as that goes, just, some things we have to find a home for it, or what we think is the best place to put it. So if there's anything like that, we've talked about this before, redundancies or something that or could be in a better locale on the plan, things like that. That's another thing.
We can cross-reference things too. So even if they appear in multiple spots,
we
just
could
see this other section. There's a full discussion of it.
Yeah, we could say, see, resiliency, it could be in public health, but see resiliency for, or something like that. Or it could be the public health look towards it. And the viewpoint of what it would be in resiliency. I don't know, or energy. So, it's not like it can only be in one. I mean, greenhouse gases is such a huge, encompassing topic. It can be in multiple places, and it can make sense for different views put in different places. So that's the only thing I comes to mind as far as that goes, because I think would show up in more than one subsection, or subcommittee section. So.
I
Okay.
just have one other thing to mention, and some of you may know, but a few weeks ago, the state declared a level 3 critical drought for the southeast region of the state, which we are in. The state hasn't been doing as much messaging around drought this year, I think because of COVID and just other issues that they're dealing with. But despite the recent rain, we're very much still in a drought status, and in our part of the state, it's actually worse than anywhere else. So just something to keep in mind as we think about sustainability and resilience.
Okay, so noted. Okay. Seeing nothing else or hearing nothing else? I guess we'll be adjourned until November 23rd. And everybody hopefully can get a chance to look over the report and let's kind of, so the format's going to be bullet point as the other 3 sections and whatever, kind of follow one, whatever. Okay. Till then, guys. All right, thank you.
Have a good night.
Night, everyone.
Bye.